All right, so let's talk about the best trade in franchise history, trading for Christian McCaffrey, trading for Steve Young. There's some good ones, but there's also some really, really awful trades. And obviously, Trey Lance trade right up there. We've talked about that one before.
That is up there.
It's up there. I got another one, and let's talk about this one for a second and ultimately rank which one was worse. So 3 firsts and a third for Trey Lance, 4 starts. It doesn't get much worse than that. But you can sort of see where the Niners are coming from in a crazy, deranged way. Like, you need a quarterback. Teams sometimes make big risks for quarterback that don't work out. But you kind of get it. They traded DeForest Buckner. They drafted DeForest Buckner with the 7th pick. He ended up being better than they probably thought he would be. At 25 years old, they just had to give him out $20 million a year, and they felt that was too much. So they traded him right before his prime so they could keep Eric Armstead, who's not as good as Buckner, and he's gone. Then, with the pick that they got for Buckner, which wasn't the 7th pick, they drafted him with the 7th pick. They got the 13th pick back like he got worse, even though so they got the 13th pick. They trade down, they get Javon Kinlaw, who's gone. And then to rectify that mistake, they signed Javon Hargrave, who's gone. And then to replace him, they draft Alfred Collins, who hasn't even signed yet. Meanwhile, Buckner's still great. He's like the 8th or 9th best defensive tackle in the league. They should have just not done that. Like, that was so unnecessary. And they try to make it seem like it was business 101 at the time. But I feel like they're still paying for it and they're still trying to rectify it. Anyway, how bad was that one? Worst of all time or second worst?
Probably neither, because I still don't. I think the only thing I hate about that trade is, why'd you guys trade him like, what was it, like a month after their Super Bowl loss?
Yeah.
Less? Like, what was the rush? So I don't think you needed a rush. I think the timeline, no matter what, to trade players is, especially if you're acquiring a draft pick, is from the moment the season ends to the draft. So you got a solid 3 months. I don't understand why they rushed that. That's the only thing. Like, because even Buckner, when he actually had availability to you guys, right? Had availability to you guys, and a bunch of you guys asked him, like, hey, so whatever happened? He's like, I don't know. I even told him I would take like a discount. It wasn't like a massive discount, but I think he did say he would take like something. And so, there's definitely a disconnect in that sense. So that was my thing. Like, what was the rush? But then, no, I'm now starting to come back to me. The rush was number 2. Free agency was coming up. They had Jimmy Ward. They had Eric Armstead. They had to pay. And their mindset was like, look, we still probably get an adequate defensive tackle, keep Armstead, who's versatile, and Jimmy Ward. So I didn't mind it. I understood it. I get it, because Buckner is better than both of those guys impactfully and a leader-wise, so it definitely hurt. Like, even when all the times I'm asking Jerry Greenlaw, like, who was like your veteran that took you under the wing your first year, your rookie year, 2019? He's like, oh, Defoe, dude.
Get started at factormeals.com/cone50off and use code cone50off to get 50% off plus free shipping on your first box.
Like Defoe, when he always jokes, he's like, "Oh, you struggling?" He's like, "Yeah, like we'll get pick your ass up, like let's go, like it's one of those things." So it was always funny when he always talks about those moments with him. So yeah, like it definitely is a stinging one, but I get it, because you were able to keep Jimmy Ward, who's an excellent player, vastly underrated, probably one of the top 5 most underrated 49er in the last 6 years, probably, or not the last 6 years, because he wasn't on the team last 2 years, but I guess from from a few years from them. And then Eric Armstead, his gripe was just like not being able to, stay afloat for more than 12, 13 games a season. But they were impactful, and he was a fairly dominant player, especially in like the Super Bowl, the last Super Bowl they played before he left. So yeah, I don't honestly, like, I get it, but I did not have that much of a gripe about it. I just didn't understand, like, maybe you could have waited a little longer just to get things together, see if maybe get something work. But I get it, because even like, again, Armstead, Jimmy Ward, 2 excellent players. You get Kinlaw. You hope Kinlaw was solid. I just think because of if they did anyone but Kinlaw, it probably would have looked better, because you had a guy who had, what was it? They said that he had a degenerate knee or something like that, an arthritis. I don't know, something degenerate knee. I always hear people something, but I don't think degenerate is the right word. So they had he had a bad knee, point he had just one flash year, and it's just. I just think if they draft someone else, I think we'd be seeing a different tune right now.
Worse. You're right. It wouldn't have been seen as the worst trade of all time.
I don't mind them not getting Tristan Wirfs, because they allowed them to get Trent Williams too. So that's another domino effect that might have come from this too. So you get Trent Williams, and now it's like, okay, this kind of looks better. You go him down. So I mean, I thought the trade was fine, but I get it, because it's like, dude, he was so impactful. He was homegrown, like he's a leader, and That's what thing a lot
That's
of
what they
players
said
talk
at the
about.
time, though. It's
today.
like this allows us to keep Armstead and Ward, which was a good point. It's just it felt like short-sighted because Ward is now a 33-year-old DB who's, you know, a 33-year-old DB. I love Jimmy Ward. And like Armstead, we didn't know that he was going to have plantar fasciitis, but he's pretty much past his prime at this point. Whereas Buckner's still Buckner. And I think we probably could have projected that. He had showed a level of consistency that Armstead hadn't. And Ward's a DB. Like DBs don't age as gracefully. Like Buckner could have been, had they kept him, Ring of Honor, team Hall of Fame, maybe not NFL Hall of Fame, but like all quarter century team with Justice. He's up there and he's gone. Fine. But why did you get rid of him? You thought they said, well, he wanted tier 1 money. He wants Aaron Donald money, which wasn't that much 5 years ago, but okay, he's not a tier 1 DT. He's not. So you kept a tier 3 DT instead of a tier 2 DT. Armstead washes out. You trade him for an unknown, ends up being like not really an impact player. And then you end up giving the money you should have gave to Buckner to Hargrave, who wasn't even a good fit. No, it was not Buckner. It's like, that's why I kind of got upset with the trade is like, you know, you messed up and you try to fix it with Hargrave and you're still trying to fix it. Well, he should just be on this team. He should be playing next to Bosa. I don't know. But
yeah, no, I mean, it's true. It's true that it's like, yeah, we've kind of screwed up, like not being able to replace him because yeah, Armstead was fine, but like even then he still has an empty spot next to him, which they thought Kinlaw was going to be that. And I just think because Kinlaw just flamed out with them, he barely had like one decent year, and that was like in 2023. That after that it was just like great, like we're left with nothing. And I think maybe they did. No, not maybe they did underestimate like how special of a player Buckner is. Like I'm not saying like he's, you know, Aaron Donald special, but it's like for him to still be a fairly high level player now, it's like, wow, okay, like, yeah, like, and he doesn't miss that many games. I think maybe he started missing games last year too, but
he did. He missed like 5. So we'll see. You know,
yeah, but now it's with age. Remember at that time he wasn't missing games though.
If Kinlaw has a big year in Washington and if Armstead has a big year in Jacksonville, that would look bad for the Niners. Hoping CJ West and Alfred Collins grow up fast, but we'll see what happens.
No, yeah, you're definitely putting a lot of pressure on these rookies to be something. So it's like
be DeForest Buckner now. That didn't work for Kinlaw.
And then you gotta remember though, when they did let Buckner go, like they did have DJ Jones to supplement that on third downs, which was fine because he was excellent third down pass rusher. Not to the degree of terms of impacting the whole offensive line that Buckner was, but they were just. I saw their logic at the time, like, hey, we do this, we'll get rid of one really good player for 2 good players, and then we're gonna hopefully replace them with another good player that's gonna be here for years to come, and then it didn't work out.
They didn't give Alfred Collins his number. I think that's the kiss of death. When you try to give the Buckner replacement the Buckner number, Kinlaw was, I mean, so CJ West got it. I feel like CJ West has got a chance.
That was, yeah, when it's like one thing is like, bro, you already know that this guy's being your Buckner replacement, and now he's gonna have the same number. He's gonna forever be up. He's gonna forever be trying to. He can't hold a candle to Buckner. No. And I think that was like, even if we assumed health, I remember even back then, it's like, dude, even if he's healthy, there's no way I don't see him being a Buckner type. I just see him as being like, oh, we're gonna look at him as like, yeah, he's a really solid player. He's good. He has his moments, but he's not Buckner. Where it's like enough where
Buckner
it's like
had a level of leadership that was unmatched on that defense.
No, it's definitely unmatched. I think even offensive players talk about. I know Kittle talks about him. I think for sure, but before back in the day, or yeah, that guy was just
Armstead was a leader, but Buckner was more of one.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, 1,000%.
Yeah. Anyway,
who got drafted first, Buckner or him? Buckner, right?
Buckner got drafted the year after, but he got drafted earlier. He was 7th pick, and Armstead was like 15.
It's always hard for me, like football, because it's like Oregon boys, and it's like
at no point in Armstead's life, on no day of his life, did he wake up better than Buckner at football. I'm sorry, that's how I feel. It's never happened. Never will.
He's not better. Still a damn good player.
Yeah. Damn good player, though. Dangerous Dave's Jeeping Trip says, do you think Emmanuel Sanders trade got us to the Super Bowl? That was huge.
Yeah, it did.
Because if it wasn't him, they were going to be playing Dante Pettis.
If it wasn't for him, it wouldn't allow Deebo Samuel to start to ascend.
True.
Like that was huge trade. That was a huge trade. We talk about trades in end of Niner history that took him like far. Sanders. Like that was one. That was always great because that's always things that they all get imparted with. Like Deebo Samuel, someone thing he like, oh, I'll forever like hold on to that tutelage now to this day. Like for Sanders and like all these other players, like they all still have that to this day.
You could argue that the last 2 Super Bowl runs were fueled by great midseason trades. Now,
was Super Bowl
for McCaffrey, it took a year because Purdy messed up his elbow in the first NFC Championship game, and they may not have won that game, but Sanders, McCaffrey, 2 midseason trades that were really critical for a Super Bowl run.
I think they would have won that game if Purdy was healthy.
They could have, absolutely. They could have.
I picked the Eagles to win that game, I remember initially, but after like seeing the way like the Eagles looked in that game, that they didn't start pulling away until like late in the third quarter of that game, and then the way the Niners handled them next year, I was like, okay, yeah, I'm pretty confident now they would have beat them and went there.
Yeah, the Niners defense showed up. They had D'Amico that year, and the Eagles weren't quite what I mean. They didn't have Barkley. They weren't quite as good as they are now.
Gosh, speaking,
I do think it's interesting that Jalen Hurts is just as bad in these late game situations as Purdy. I think that's interesting, man.
I think I would trust Purdy more in those situations than Hurts a little bit. Because Hurts, I just feel like
either one.
Scattered brain. I mean, Hurts is a good scattered brain if he's gonna throw it, unless he's gonna just run it. If he's gonna tuck and run it, okay, cool, I trust him. Which I'm actually surprised. Like you were just looking at passing touchdowns. What do you think his running touchdowns were? I don't know if we were actually paying attention to that.
Let's see. Let's check it out.
But then how many times have we been in those situations where they've actually been down?
Okay, here we go. So Hurts, 58 carries, 81 yards, 3 touchdowns. So a lot of tush pushes.
Okay, so that makes sense. Yeah,
a lot of tush pushes. And how many first downs? 12 first downs? Huh. Just not as great as you'd think. And yet, look at the guys at the top. Jaden Daniels. Yeah. Joe Burrow, Stroud, Darnold, Brady, Flacco, Dak, surprisingly. Although, not that great. Anyway.
Dak's not surprising. They're always behind the 8 ball. So that's why it's like they got to be fighting for their lives.
That's true. He's got a lot of experience in those situations. Last one, then we're getting out of here. Dangerous Dave's Jeeping Trip says football seems to evolve, but it also just rolls over. Meaning importance of certain things varies, but the trenches are important again. Yet O-line has never been important to Lyle. Buckner was the best. Yeah, I mean, if Brock gets hurt this year, if the offensive line is like a limiting factor or ruins the season, then you'd have to go to Kyle and be like, dude, this is hurting the team unless you evolve. Mate, I don't know. I mean, what am I trying to say? Eventually you need a coach who values the offensive line. So either that's going to be Kyle or someone else. I don't know. I think.
See, they haven't invested in offensive line. They just have whiffed on all their picks that they've been doing. Like, I know the last 2 years it hasn't been like heavy, but like even before that, it's like, yeah, look at like Jared Kingston's not even on the team. Like, they're just drafting. So that's the thing. Like, just it's not as simple as like just draft offensive lineman. It's like, no, it's got to be the right one. Have there been some? And like even this free agency period this year is like, dude, it was kind of slim. No, this free agency market in general was very sneaky. It wasn't that good.
Their 2 big offensive line draft picks are the 2 guys from Notre Dame, McGlinchey and Banks. And I think it's pretty clear that pretty early on the Niners were dissatisfied with both of them. Like, why did we, splurge on these players? We never spend high draft picks on offensive linemen, but we went against our tendency for these 2 guys. And we're watching them every day and we're like, man, they're not even better than their backups. And then they ultimately replaced both of them with their backups, Ben Barch and Colton McKivitz. We'll see if it works, but the Niners are all about just getting cost-effective options who don't completely suck. That's what they want in their offensive line.
I'm down for cost-effective at guard, not for tackles or center. Guard, sure. Because you can find okay guards. Like, look, Pooney was 2nd rounder, right? Or 3rd rounder.
3rd.
And he's going to end up being their 3rd best offensive lineman if he has another good season this year. So
I have my prediction for this year is that Connor Colby is going to end up starting at some point, and they're going to need him to play well. Because I don't know about this Ben Barch guy. He gets hurt a lot.
He does, because I think his last year was with Jacksonville before he joined the Niners.
Yeah.
He was dealing with a knee. Was it like a patellar too or something like that?
Yeah.
No, not a patellar. Was it patellar?
Something. Yeah, it's
had knee and like
the
next year, and it's like, and what did he mess up last year? He messed up his ankle. He had an ankle sprain.
Something.
It's all. I see him by like week 3 or week 4, like start to break down. Then it's over for him.
And then we'll see Spencer Burford. That's not great. And he could be playing left tackle. Who's gonna be playing left? Andre Dillard? Apparently, I don't know. God, he sucks.
Yeah, they're really screwed when Williams gets hurt. Talking about the question marks, that's the second biggest question mark. Like Williams, he's gonna miss games. That's a fact. But how many? And is it a lot? And does he drop off?
ESPN, or was it? I don't know. Pro Football Focus ranked the offensive lines in the league. The Niners ranked 12th, which is
How'd they rank 12?
debatable.
Didn't they just rank them like 14th the other week, the month?
Yeah, I don't know. It's debatable, but it's like, okay, so what about for the 3 to 7 games that Trent Williams isn't going to play? Where do they rank then? 32nd?
I think that's why
32nd.
They don't account for it's all like a paper thing. It's like, oh, these guys like absent of health. If you're just looking at it on Madden, like, oh, these guys are good. Like if it just stays, but it's like, all right, if you want to factor health and depth, then it's like, okay, you're gonna drop them off pretty fat then. So that's one thing for sure. If one player gets lost on that offensive line, it's looking really bad. You can probably get away with it if it's in the guard position, but you can kind of say that for a lot of offenses though, because
we don't know that Dominic Pooney is definitely a perennial Pro Bowler. He had a good rookie season. We've seen a lot of guys have a good rookie season and not replicate it. I think he's going to be good, but he has to go out and prove that he can do it again and stay healthy.
Yeah, they thought Jair Brown was going to be fine, and look, he flamed out badly.
Who is a better Big Dom, Dominic Pooney or the dude in Philly?
In terms of what?
They should call Dominic Pooney Big Dom, so it's like they have their own version of him. You know what I mean? Like a Big Dom.
I think in terms of size, it's definitely Pooney. But let me tell you, I was like I was in New Orleans. I was right next to Big Dom. I was like, this guy is pretty freaking big. Holy crap!
Yeah,
bro.
I wouldn't mess with him.
Trust on the line. Go push that blocking set. No wonder why.
All right, back to vacation time for me, Jose. Thank you very much for doing this stream with me while nothing's going on in Niners world and helping me just take another shot at Brock Purdy, one day at a time. One day at a time.
Although I'm apparently the bigger hater than you when it comes to him. But I haven't heard anyone complain because I'm not on there anymore.